This here is the updated KGM Musso, and what exactly is it? It is an affordable dual cab ute, but not from China, from the Korean brand KGM, who were formerly known as Ssangyong. And this updated version of the Musso has received some slight revisions, more standard equipment, but also higher pricing. And I'm going to talk about everything you need to know. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe and hit the bell. And let's get straight into the review. First, what is there to know before walking into a showroom? The KGM Musso is priced from $42,000 and $1,000 less for ABN holders, rivaling with cars like the GWM Cannon, the LDV-T60, the Jack T9, and in total you have 3 different versions to choose from, with the option between a short wheelbase and long wheelbase tub. And the version I'm featuring is the Ultimate, which is priced over $50,000 drive away and available in 4 different external colours. And in terms of ownership, warranty, servicing, running costs, on your screen is a breakdown on everything you need to know. And finally, a big thank you to KGM in Vale. They have lent me this demonstrator for this video review, and they are located in the Southern Highlands, and I've shared their details in the description below. Okay, let's talk about styling. Like I said, this was updated for 2026, and key highlights include reshaped automatic LED headlights with a sequential indicator setup, and these headlights are much better compared to the previous HID headlights. But unfortunately, if you go for any lower spec model, they come with the pre-updated front end, which is a bit of a shame. Other key things to mention, you have a gloss black grille with the old Ssangyong logo, LED fog lights, body cladding down below, factory steel underbody protection, but it is worth pointing out there are no recovery points for off-road driving. And if we take a look at the side view, you get a set of black 18-inch alloy wheels that are wrapped in highway terrain tyres. However, there are no side steps, but you do get dark tinted privacy glass from B-pillar to the back, electronic power folding mirrors finished off in black roof rails, and on that top section, a power opening sunroof. And if we take a look at the rear, nothing has changed here either, and I can see that. Halogen rear tail lights, the old Ssangyong Musso badging in the centre, but they did put on KGM badging on the right. This might be a bit of a problem to some people. There is no rear step-up bar, just a plastic bumper setup, but you do get a full-sized spare wheel, which is always a bonus. And comparing this to the Jack T9 and the GWM Cannon, some versions do come with a leaf sprung suspension setup at the rear, whereas other versions like this one come with a coil sprung setup at the rear. Plus you also get front and rear disc brakes, but more on that later when we go for a drive. And also, tell me what you think of the styling. Do you like the look, or do you think KGM should do more? Write down your opinion in the comments below. Okay, let's talk about the interior. Nothing has really changed since the last update in 2023, and it certainly isn't the best interior in the segment, but nor is it the worst. I do like the manual handbrake, and the door slam does feel pretty solid. However, I don't like the plastic up the top here, over here, and it is a bit firm where you rest your elbow. There's also more plastic down the bottom here, and some durable materials over here as well in the centre, but the dashboard feels okay, squidgy over here, and a soft centre console. You also get a leather wrapped steering wheel that feels okay to grip onto. That offers both manual tilt and reach adjustment. The steering wheel can also be heated, and these seats are finished off in leather look upholstery, and they're also pretty supportive as well. Electronic seat adjustment for both front row seats and lumbar support for the driver. The front row seats can also be heated and ventilated, and over here, automatic dual zone climate control with touch sensitive buttons. Next, moving on to the 12.3 inch screen. This is the main menu, so pretty basic, nothing really too interesting, and you can cycle between different apps. There are no dials, but you do have shortcut buttons on the wheel, and there's also both wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, along with voice control that works with Siri. And if I go into radio, FM, AM, And then media functions include USB, Bluetooth, and a 6-speaker sound system. And if I flick it into reverse, a surround view camera system with a few different views to pick from, including a 3D view, which does look pretty impressive, but not as good compared to the GWM Cannon. You also get front and rear parking sensors and a rear cross traffic alert, automatic emergency braking, blind spot monitoring, a safe exit warning assist, but no adaptive cruise control, just standard active cruise control. And along with a lane departure warning, a lane keeping assistant. There is no speed sign recognition, but you do get a driver fatigue monitoring system. There's also this 12.3-inch screen, which is customizable in terms of configuration and layout, and you can also change what menu you want to see in the center as well. Over in the center, you'll find the dial for the part-time four-wheel drive system, two-wheel drive high range for on-road driving, four-wheel drive high and low range for off-road driving. And this center section surrounding the gear shifter is exactly like what you got on a Mercedes-Benz back in the 90s, and even the drive modes between normal, winter and summer. What about storage? The glove box is a pretty decent size. Vanity mirrors with lighting behind the sun visors, but no sunglasses holder. You don't get a wireless phone charging pad, but you can store your phone here. A 12-volt socket, two USB-C ports and a cigarette lighter. The door bins are pretty spacious and they can hold a big water bottle, two small cup holders in the center and decent center storage. Accessibility is also pretty good, climbing in and out. You also get a remote flip-out key, keyless entry, walk up and walk away door locking and unlocking, and push button ignition, and when you switch the car off, it makes a chime. Very nice. Okay, here in the back with this seat set in my position, knee room is tight and toe room is pretty cramped. Headroom is pretty good. Middle passengers, again, knee room, toe room is tight, but headroom is okay. It is a bit of a shame, however, that you still get a lap-facing seatbelt, and when you open up the door, there is a sharp corner, so that is something to be careful climbing in. You do get directional air vents, but no USB-C ports. But these two outboard seats can also be heated. You also have mat pockets, decent door bin storage, which can also hold a big water bottle. Grab handles up the top here, lighting, a flip down armrest with two small cup holders, and you can also fold the back seat down to set up a flat load space. And for child seats, there are 3 top tether points behind that setup and 2 ISOFIX points on the 2 outboard seats. Okay, let's talk about the tub. The tailgate opening floats down and it is easy to open and close. You also get a plastic tub liner and a total of 4 tie-down hooks to keep items secure. However, nothing to cover the tub section, and as you can see on this short wheelbase version, space isn't really that big. But as I said before, you can get the Musso in long wheelbase form, which gets you a longer tub. And on your screen are all the key dimensions between the two, and payload is also pretty good, but that does vary depending on which version you pick. The Musso is still powered by the same 2.2 litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel engine, which makes out 133 kilowatts and linked to a 6-speed auto and a part-time 4-wheel drive system. Towing figures are also pretty reasonable, 3.5 tonne towing, which is the standard, and for everything related to off-road driving, on your screen is everything you need to know. Okay, driving impressions inside the Musso. Over the bonnet there's decent forward visibility, good side vision, decent side mirrors, and at the back rear vision is actually pretty good. One thing I have noticed compared to when I last drove the long wheelbase version, the short wheelbase does have a tighter turning circle and it is an easier car to live with. The steering feels relatively light and manageable. The throttle response, it is okay, punchy enough, but when you do get out on the motorway, it does feel unresponsive, or at least compared to other rivals in the segment. A lot of the Chinese brands are underpowered, like the Jack T9, the LDV, but the Cannon with the 2.4 litre diesel engine, I think that is the class leader. You also get front and rear disc brakes, so stopping ability is pretty good. A little bit grabby on the brake pedal, but thanks to the coil sprung suspension setup, it is pretty comfortable, especially on a long drive combined with the supportive seats. But it does jiggle around, as you can see with the camera footage, which is a bit of a surprise because there are no leaf springs at the back. Traditionally, if you put some weight in the tub, that'll solve that issue. There is a little bit of wind noise coming into the interior, nothing too noisy, but if you are using this as a freeway cruiser and it's not bumpy, it is pretty refined, and yeah, you can definitely spend a lot of time in the car. The active cruise control is easy to engage. It isn't adaptive, so you can't set the distance between yourself and the vehicle in front. The lane departure warning can be a bit irritating at times, and the lane centering is a bit clumsy. And what about fuel consumption? The official figure from KGM is 8.6 litres per 100. Right now it is showing me under 10 litres, but this is a brand new vehicle, only 22 kilometres on the clock, so I can't really give you an accurate figure. But the powertrain setup has not changed, so you'll average between 9 to 10 litres, or a little bit less on the freeway because the gearbox does respond pretty well and it does sit low within the rev band. So with my driving impressions out of the way, let's wrap up with a verdict. So what do we think about the KGM Musso? As we've discussed, it isn't perfect in a few different areas, but if you are after a budget dual cab ute that focuses on comfort, refinement, and it does also drive particularly well, then it is definitely something you should consider if you are shopping around for a GWM Cannon or anything budget focused within the dual cab ute category. But of course, tell me what you think. Would you pick this over anything else? And for anyone new, don't forget to like, share, subscribe and hit the bell, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.